What is going on, beautiful people? It's your man Louie T here with another installment of the Louie T Network podcast. So, got a number of topics to get to. So, we're going to make this thing pop off like a little bit of that in case you missed it flavor. We ain't done that in a while. It's enough to talk about. So, we're going to jump into that today. Hey, football is back, man. I mean, we ain't hit the field yet. Just about a week away next Thursday. We will have football for the first time, and we will not be without football for the next 6 months after that Hall of Fame game. But, man, we got practices. We got camps opening all over the place. We got people flapping their gums. We got injuries. We got all kinds of shit, new contracts, all of that and more. We're going to chop it up and talk about here on the 352nd installment of the Louie T Network podcast that starts now. The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description. Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Louie T Network podcast. Of course, I'm your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Lot to get to today. I'm not going to delay. I'm going to get straight to the proceedings this evening. So we're going to jump right into that gem dropping session. Shall we do that? I think we shall. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind. Let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So I want to start with Sean Payton, man. Sean Payton was in USA Today, airing folks out. I mean, Sean had the guns out and he was letting off shots. Bop, 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 bop. And I'm like, hey, Sean, it's like that, bro. He said it's like that. All right. And Sean Payton's never been one to hold his tongue any damn way. But sheesh, chief on chief. He was on one. So in this article, Sean Payton takes a shot at the NFL for the gambling rules and how he talks about how confusing the rule is when they send in those tapes to the league, to these teams, you know, telling them what they can and can't do, this, that, and the third. He said it was really convoluted. And it reminded him because the Broncos were the latest team to have a player suspended. They had a defensive end who got popped for a full year. He is suspended indefinitely. And Sean Payton was already speaking out about the rule before his player got popped. But he talked about how he felt when he got popped in 2012 for Bountygate and was suspended for an entire year, and how the league, how Roger Goodell tried to essentially tried to almost alienate him from the rest of the league. So he was living in Dallas at the time, and he ran into a player, and it was like, anytime you run into anybody that's in the league, doesn't matter what level, you got to call the league immediately and notify them that you ran into somebody. He was like, this is some bullshit, bro. What am I going to do? Sneak a play call to somebody? Like, what am I going to tell them? And he said, we're casting these players off. They can't have any contact with the team, you know, with anybody affiliated with the league. You got to understand, you're 24, 25 years old. You're living out your dream. Most of the players on the team are probably your best friends. These are the guys you're around the most, especially during the season, but even in the off season. And now you can't have any contact of any kind with them. It's crazy. And Sean Payton like, this shit is bullshit, man. And Sean Payton said, look, to hell with the video that the league is sending us to show to our players. He had his own media team put up a video, make up a video, and pretty much Sean Payton told those boys, hey, don't gamble on anything of any kind anywhere, period. Just don't. He said, you know how they tracking your ass? They tracking y'all asses with this right here. And he showed him a picture of a phone. He had his phone and he says, they're tracking you with this, right? He said, you want to know how they know what you're doing? They tracking you on your phone. So when he said, and he used the analogy of a gun. He said, if you can't bring your gun there, don't gamble there. He said, you can't bring your gun in the team parking lot. You can't bring your gun to the team hotel. You can't bring your gun into the facility. You can't bring your gun onto the airplane. So don't gamble in any of those spots, period. And he said, really, just don't do it. So he aired out the NFL, but he wasn't done. No. Sean was far from done. Sean took a shot at the Jets. I know Robert Saleh was like, bro, where's this smoke coming from? So Sean Payton was talking about how the Broncos struggled last year. Let's start there. He went after Nathaniel Hackett with vigor and aggression, the way I like it. That's the way, I like it. He went after him with vigor, right? And he was like, look, last year was a shit show. And he said every single person has a little bit of stink on their hands from that shit that went down last year. Everybody wants to look at Russ and call him washed and all of this. He said it ain't just Russ. All right. I don't know what kind of operation Nathaniel Hackett called himself running last year, but it was some shit. I was like, God damn. Well, God damn. He said, I'm not mad at Russ for having his QB coach in the building. He said, it's like a parent. Your kids get away with what you allow them to get away with. There was no way that Russell Wilson should have been allowed to bring his personal QB coach when you already have a QB coach on staff. There's no way that guy's supposed to be allowed in the building. Are you kidding me? Yeah, right. But you know what? Nathaniel Hackett allowed all that shit to happen, so guess what? It's going to happen. These players, they're not that dissimilar from kids. A lot of them are young like kids. They're young-minded when they come into the league. You got to set the tone. And he said that shit that Nathaniel Hackett was doing last year, that shit ain't going down this year. He said everything that they did last year, we're doing the opposite. Damn, homie. Just last year, you was the man, homie. The F happened to you. He's okay. He's in New York with the Jets. But Nathaniel Hackett stunk, and I told y'all that last year. So Sean aired him out, but he wasn't done. He moved on to Robert Saleh and the Jets. And, you know, why are the Jets catching strays is what I got to say. Like, he even included my poor Washington Redskins. Like, why we got to catch a stray here? So he said, yeah, man, we don't want none of that hype. We don't want none of that shit. They can have all of that. He said, you know what? You see what the Jets are doing? On Hard Knocks, out here, going after Rodgers, going after all these players. You see what the Jets are doing? Watch how that shit go for them. The Jets, they can have all that shit. Robert Saleh, all that, they can have all that shit. See how it turned out for them. First of all, the Jets didn't even want to do Hard Knocks, bro. Where are you getting your information from? Like, why are you coming for these guys next? Damn. Slow down, Sean. Then he was like, I was in New York, young coach with the Giants at the time. In 2000, when Daniel Snyder bought up all of these players, Deion Sanders and Jeff George and Bruce Smith and Mark Carrier. I was there for that. And I remember thinking, how in the hell are we supposed to compete with that? They were in the divisional round last year, a field goal away from going to the NFC Championship game, and they add Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders, and Mark Carrier. How are we supposed to compete with them? He said, and then they went 8-8 or whatever. I was like, God damn, why are we catching a stray? He was on a rampage. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be disappointed if we won't make the playoffs this year. I said, okay, Sean. I hear you, bro. Just know if the shit doesn't go according to plan, I'm coming back around, and you're gonna hear my mouth. You're gonna have to take that shit like a man. I'm gonna be like, hey, stop effing around and be a man. I don't want to hear no shit if it don't go the way you think it's supposed to go. I think they're gonna be good this year, though. I do. I really truly do. Anyway, I digress. So that was Sean Payton going after the NFL, going after Nathaniel Hackett, going after the Jets. Robert Saleh actually responded, said, look, man, you ain't making no moves, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing. Like, you ain't making no moves if you don't have haters, man. So, of course, we're going to have some haters. Hi, haters. So, Robert Saleh had a nice little comeback. I like it. I like it a lot. In case you missed it, Najee Harris out here speaking the truth on this Saquon Barkley deal, right? So remember, we talked about this last episode. I said, man, Saquon, you know what Saquon is? It took me a while to figure out the right way to say it, because I didn't want to come off being too aggressive, because all Saquon is doing what is in the best interest of him and his family and his situation. That's all he's doing. And I can never fault a man for doing that. As long as you're not infringing upon my rights as another human being, as long as you're not doing something that impacts me or my family, man, I can't knock you for doing what you got to do. All right. But Saquon was supposed to be a part of this running back movement that was for the greater good. And I kept telling y'all this. I said, Saquon, remember I had a show last week and I asked, which one of these dudes is a potential candidate to be a martyr? Is there a martyr in the room? We already know Tony Pollard is not a martyr, and you're not allowed to be a martyr on Jerry Jones's football team. Okay. He's going to crack that whip, get you in line so you could be a good old boy. So that shit ain't happening in Dallas. Okay. I said, Saquon, you know what he strikes me as? And I found the perfect term for him. Saquon Barkley's a company guy. He's a company guy. He's the guy that you don't have to pay extra money to, but you can put extra on their plate. And they'll go and they'll bitch and they'll complain to everybody else, but they don't say shit to the people that it matters to. You've worked with some of those people before. They're the company guy, right? Come to you, dumping all of the problems from work on your ass as a coworker. Like, man, they don't pay me enough for this shit. Tell them that. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear the shit. Ain't my fault you picked up an extra shift. Ain't my fault you coming in early, staying late, and they still got you as a regular ass worker. You getting paid the same amount as me. Don't come to me with that shit. Stop being a company guy. Saquon's a company guy. I told you, I said Saquon ain't going to miss a lot of camp because he ain't built like that. He's a company guy. And the deal that he took screams company guy. The Giants didn't overcompensate him. They didn't sweeten the deal and make it so that Saquon couldn't say no. The only thing that Saquon got out of that deal is that they can't franchise tag him again next year. That's it. $11 million ain't shit. The franchise tag is 10 too. What is that, 800K? That ain't no good deal. And he's not even guaranteed to get all of that. He got to hit that shit with incentives and bonuses. So Najee Harris spoke for about 2 minutes yesterday. Little scrum at practice, after the practice media scrum. Of course they're going to ask Najee. He was a part of that conference call, that Zoom call. So they're like, hey, man, you seen the deal, Saquon? And Najee was waiting for that fastball. Boy, Najee was in that batter's box. He let that bat go. He had his fingers nice and loose. And he saw that 92-mile-an-hour fastball coming right down the pipe, center cut. And he took a hack. And he just sat there and he pimped that thing after he smoked it. He was like, look, Saquon, the man went and did his homework. He said Saquon accounted for damn near 30% of the Giants' offense last year. That deal he signed is some bullshit. You trying to tell me that a man that literally drug his football team across the finish line to the playoffs, He said him and Josh Jacobs accounted for over 1,600 yards of total offense from scrimmage. They both young in the prime of their careers. You telling me they ain't worth more than $11 million in a single season? Something ain't adding up to me, man. It don't make sense. And that deal that Saquon signed, that's some bullshit, and the Giants should be ashamed of their damn self. He ain't wrong, and he ain't lying, and he ain't stutter. But I'm not going to just put the blame on the Giants. They, again, just like Sean Payton said, as a player, you allow the team is going to get away with what you allow them to get away with as a player. If you want more money, this is why when players hold out, and fans like to get all in their feelings, get their panties all in a bunch. Oh, he's holding out. He's so selfish. He should take less. For what? You take less at your job. Don't tell me to take less at my goddamn job. You take less at your job. When players hold out, I'm always on their side. Always. Unless it's an extreme case, I'm like, bro, come on now. Like when Darrelle Revis would keep coming back to the table, like, Darrelle, you done ate 4 times. It's dudes over here starving. They ain't ate once, and you coming back to the table again. Come on, Darrelle, you're killing me, bro. He was like, nope, put another scoop on the plate. Like, come on, Rail, man, it's a long line, man. We done put 3 scoops on your plate, bro. Those are rare exceptions to the rule. It ain't a lot of dudes eating like that. So when players hold out, I'm on their side. And Najee Harris speaking the truth on Saquon shouldn't have took that shit. That wasn't no good deal. He's a company guy, and I can't be mad at that. Do you? But that doesn't help the rest of that's not for the greater good. You didn't help the rest. Because you know what the Raiders then did? They took that same deal and they went to Josh Jacobs, and Josh said, y'all better get the hell out my face with that bullshit. Y'all know better than to approach me with that shit. That ain't no goddamn deal. Not for me, at least. You better get the hell out my face and come back with some sense. The Raiders, you don't think the Raiders tried? It's a copycat league. You don't think the Raiders tried that with Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs, y'all better get the hell out my face. Y'all better get the hell on. Josh Jacobs is about that life. He ain't no damn company guy. Raiders about to find that shit out. Anyway, I digress. In case you missed it, Jay Herbo gets his bag. Woo! Jay Herbo got to the bag. We knew this was coming, though. Just like Joe Burrow is about to be next. We know how this works. The next up is the best up. Y'all know how it goes. 5 years, $262.2 million. That is over $250 million, $1 billion, folks. 218.7 of it is fully guaranteed. And check this out. He's getting $100 million in 1 year. That's a career for about 2-3 guys crammed together. Hell, we talking about these running backs. That's about 5 or 6 running back contracts total. He getting that in 1 year. The first year, that new money, because he signed a 5-year extension, so he's in he's in LA with the Chargers for the next 6 years. Okay, 6 years. Because of this 5-year, so this deal doesn't start until next year, where he will walk home with $100 million. Like one day he'll go to sleep, he'll wake up, and there will be $100 million in his bank account that wasn't there the day before. Crazy, right? I know. Good for him, man. He deserves it. He's a hell of a football player. One of the best young quarterbacks in the game. Speaking of bags that'll be handed out, Andrew Thomas walked away with a hefty bag. Remember, Washington fans wanted Andrew Thomas once upon a time. 5 years, $117.5 million. 67 of it guaranteed, the most for an NFL offensive lineman in history. Good for Andrew Thomas, locking it down on that left side for the New York Giants. It's always good when you find that guy, and they found that guy. Took a while. Didn't get off to the best start. But once he hit his stride, he showed why he was the cleanest tackle prospect in that draft class, and he's been playing really well for the New York Giants. Cole Kmet. Let's stick with the tackles. Titus Howard signed a 3-year, $56 million deal with 36.5 of it guaranteed in Houston to stay with the Texans. He was a guy that started off slow in Houston and came on like gangbusters and has locked up the right side of that offensive line at the tackle position. So we're seeing players starting to get broken off. Cole Kmet, a Golden Domer. And if there's one position that Notre Dame constantly churns out talented football players that usually have long, very productive careers in the NFL, it's tight end. And Cole Kmet is one in a long line of Golden Domers who have come in and show improved well in the league. He gets a 4-year, $50 million deal, 32.8 of it guaranteed to stay in Chicago and give Justin Fields yet another weapon to throw the football to. So good for Cole Kmet, establishing himself as a really good young tight end, and he gets to the bag. How about some injuries, man? This is always the dirty, nasty side of the NFL. Injuries are going to take place. Yesterday, the Lions had their safety, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, carted off the field. Now, initial reports is it's not as serious. We will see. I haven't heard exactly what the extent of the injury is, but they're making it seem as if he didn't tear anything. Let's hope that that is, in fact, the case. Jalen Ramsey carted off the field at Miami Dolphins practice today. Non-contact injury, got up limped to the cart, and was carted off the field. I haven't heard an update as to the extent of that injury. That doesn't sound good. Anytime you hear non-contact and carted off the field, your immediate reaction is to think, oh my God, he just did something season ending. And whether it's an Achilles or it's an ACL, you don't really know, but you're thinking it's one of the two, right? Generally speaking, when we're talking about a lower extremity injury. So hopefully nothing serious there. And then the big whopper, the big whopper. This is a double whop with cheese. Joe Burrow carted off at Bengals practice today. Now, initial reports are that it's not as serious. And anytime your quarterback goes down, you're not taking any chances. Don't get your ass up. Stay down. We'll get the cart, bring it out, and we'll take you back there, get x-rays, make sure everything's fine. So I'm hoping it's a precautionary measure that was taken at practice. Nothing serious. We do know that he has sustained an ACL injury before in his career, in his rookie season. So you always have a bit of pause when you hear about guys who've already sustained injuries like that in their career. So prayers up for all of the players that we've talked about that have been notable, that have gone down in camp thus far. But we're hoping Joe Burrow is good. We're hoping Jalen Ramsey is good, because the league is better when guys like Ramsey and Burrow and CJ Gardner-Johnson are healthy. It's much better when, the premier players, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had like 7 or 8 picks last year. You want those players on the field. You want Jalen Ramsey out there for a key matchup against a receiver. He's in Miami now. They're supposed to have this dominant secondary. You want to see that. I want Joe Burrow out there. We watch quarterback. We all watched the rivalry. We saw how badly Patrick Mahomes wanted to beat Joe Burrow because the narrative was he couldn't beat Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. And Burrow had his number. He still hasn't beaten Joe Burrow in the regular season yet. You want to see that. We all do. So here's to hoping that Joe Burrow is okay, man, and able to bounce back and be ready for week 1, whatever the extent of the injury is. So that's the gym dropping session for today. Let's go ahead and mosey on over to social media maneuvers. I'm a midday marauder. Y'all know how I do it. You know how we do it. So we go to the comment section. If y'all got comments, y'all know what to do. Press for time, though. So if you really want your comment read, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Super chats are the way to go about that business, because we don't have as much time as we normally do. So super chats guarantee that your comment gets read, sends you straight to the front of the line. But if you're out there and time permits, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. We'll get to as many of those as we can before we get out of here. So Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, want to touch on Rodgers taking a $35 million pay cut. I know I've been critical of his attitude as of late, but anytime someone takes a pay cut, especially one that big, I respect the F out of that. He took a massive pay cut, one that we don't generally see players of his ilk take. Now, I will say that Aaron Rodgers has made plenty of money in his career, especially over. He really gave it to the Packers. What was it? Last offseason? Not offseason before that? Whatever that offseason was, where he went into where they pissed him off because they thought he was going to be gone. He wins MVP, and now he was holding that leverage over their head. I want to say it was 2 off seasons ago, and then he got that nice, meaty contract from them. He's been making some good money, man. Don't you feel bad for Aaron. But to your point, I think he just took the pay cut, though, because he wanted to see what the Jets were like. He wouldn't have took that shit if he didn't believe in the Jets or he didn't like what was going on there so far. He wouldn't have taken the pay cut. But obviously, he likes the staff. He's got his old buddy Nathaniel Hackett back with him. It's a comfortable situation for him. He's probably enjoying himself right now, so much so that he agreed to take the pay cut. He's guaranteed and locked in for the next 2 seasons, so this season and next. And he took a pretty hefty pay cut in order to stay in New York, which means he likes it there. That's what that means, because he didn't have to help the Jets. They would have had to work around him if he was like, nah. But he came to New York knowing that at some point he was going to have to help them out. Remember, he had said, look, just get the deal done. We'll figure out all the particulars later on. Just get me to New York, and we'll figure out the financial side of things. And that's exactly what is going on. So good for Rodgers, good for the Jets. I knew that this was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be that significant of a pay cut, though, which again, it speaks to how much he's enjoying himself. He's really having a good time. And maybe we'll see that on Hard Knocks starting next week, August 8th. Maybe we'll see it next week, how much he's enjoying himself. Or is that 2 weeks from now? Because I think Hard Knocks is usually on Tuesdays, right? So it's probably two Tuesdays from now, or 2 Tuesdays from now, not next Tuesday. Next Tuesday will be the 1st. It's the following Tuesday, the 8th. So shout out to Aaron Rodgers for taking the pay cut. That was big time. Kyle, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Kyle, writes, Jordan Addison cited going 140 in a 55. Red flag. We talked about this on the podcast last week. I'm not gonna put the red flag on him quite yet. I ain't gonna pull the challenge flag yet. I am throwing the yellow flag, though. It's a penalty on the play for sure. Do I need to go to the replay booth and review whether that was a bad decision to draft this kid or not? Nah, I think it's too early to pull out the red challenge flag. But this is definitely a personal foul. All right. Driving too goddamn fast. Offense. What number does his ass wear? I'm going to make up a number for him. Number 12. That's a 15-yard penalty. And he should expect a nice manila envelope in his office or in his locker on Wednesday. No, I'm not pulling out the challenge flag quite yet. Let's hope that this was one of those transgressions that, you get a little bit of money. And he tried to claim that it was some circumstances surrounding this situation that warranted him driving that fast, like a loved one was in the hospital or some shit. Ain't nobody buying that bullshit, bro. But at the end of the day, a lot of times these young kids are adrenaline junkies. They want to go fast, Let's just hope he learned his lesson here. And that's what I'm going to rock with. I'm a benefit of the doubt guy. He didn't hurt anybody. Don't do this shit again, bro. It was 3 a.m. I don't give a shit. Do not do this again. All right. Let this be a lesson to you, bro. We can take this shit from you real quick. Real quick. Try me if you want to. This shit could go away real fast. And a lot of times these dudes feel like they're immortal. It's like, oh, man, I'm on top of the world. I'm Superman. And, fans are to blame for that a lot of the times because a lot of times fans put these athletes on pedestals. So they feel like they're invincible. So they can go out and drive 140 and ain't shit gonna happen. Till you end up doing some stupid shit like my man with the Raiders, and you kill some damn body. Then it becomes a problem. Henry Ruggs, the third. Now it's a problem. Like, don't wait till you hurt somebody. Don't wait till you kill somebody. Don't wait till you hurt yourself before you figure this shit out. Hopefully he learned the lesson. No, don't condemn the young man yet. He made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Nobody got hurt in this transgression here. We'll have a problem if he's a habitual offender. Then I'm pulling out the red challenge flag at that point. John Perez, my guy, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP, writes, I'm going on vacation with the missus. Enjoy, bro. Enjoy. And the in-laws for a whole week, so you won't hear from me a ton after today. But it's good to have football back. The how hype is real, and CY99 looks good. We're going to talk about that ad nauseum tonight. Tonight on the live stream. Got a lot to say about those two in particular, as well as just the entire team, or the dynamics of everything that's going on right now. Everything feels like it's going in the right direction. I like the things that I'm hearing from camp thus far. So we're going to talk about that. Enjoy the vacay, bro. Enjoy the in-laws. Enjoy the time away from everything. Vacations are meant to create long-lasting memories that you can look back on. And JP, if you do nothing else for me, take pictures. If you're not the picture guy, whoever is the picture person, if that's your wife, make sure y'all take pictures, man. Because your memories are great, but you know what also helps jog those memories? I'm the picture guy in my family because everybody likes to live in the moment, and I love living in the moment as well, but I also love being able to look back on those moments. And pictures help you do that. So snap a couple for me while you're on the trip. So a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, you can look back and say, you know what? We need to do that again. Or sometimes you just need a reminder. These phones are so smart now. They'll put together a little collage for you. This is what you was doing 1 year ago this time. And then you can see those pictures. You know what? We need to do that shit again. So take some pictures for me, JP. Silver V, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBBSQUAD. It feels like it's been a while, Silver V. Always good to hear from you. What's up, Louie T? What's going on? Here's an idea for the running back is to have their salary exempt towards the cap for the first 4 years of their career. They're not going to do anything. You saw what Jim Irsay said. He was outraged at the fact that the running backs would even contest this well-crafted, hard-working CBA that they put together, that they spent years on. All right, Jim, go sit your old drunken ass down somewhere. Okay. That's not fair. I shouldn't do that to Jim. You know, I don't like Jim. You know, I'm not a Jim Irsay fan. So, but I have to behave myself and not do Jim like that. Jim has had some issues. Jim has gotten past those issues, I hope. Jim be speaking out of turn, though, all the damn time. He like that old ass family member that you have that just don't give a F. They old and they like, I can say whatever the hell I want out of my mouth. You like, but auntie or grandma, and you know, and usually you don't correct that person. In your mind, you're saying that was so unnecessary, grandma. You did not have to do that. Auntie, you did not have to say that. Come on, bro. Really? That was so uncalled for. That's Jim Irsay. He don't know what the hell to say out his mouth. Your running back is up for a new contract after this year, and you talking shit, bitch? It just doesn't make sense. And if they do Jonathan Taylor dirty, I think they're going to pay him, though, personally. But if they do him dirty, we coming back to these comments, right? Like, the running backs are trying to figure out what they can do. They just thinking out loud. They ain't trying to rewrite the CBA or none of that shit. They just want fair treatment. They just want what they feel like is theirs. That's all they're looking for. So, I don't know, man. It's interesting. to see what they could potentially do, but I don't know what they're going to do, honestly speaking. It's a tough position that they're in, because you're not getting a new CBA until 2031. These CBAs last for 10 years. They're not getting a new CBA anytime soon. So that's not happening. And these teams are going to continue to, like Najee Harris said, they use us up. We get a bunch of carries, then they use that wear and tear bullshit when it's time to get paid. You put the wear and tear on us. Now you don't want to pay us? That's crazy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, that idea would be cool, but how does it benefit them? Exempt a salary exempt towards the cap for the first 4 years of their career. That's still not getting them paid more money, unless you're gonna pay them more money right out of the gate. That's the problem is, as a running back, like any player that comes into the league, you can't. That's why they have a rookie wage scale. Like, you can't come in getting broken off right out of the gate. Like, how would you feel if you break off Trent Richardson and then you realize 2 years into his career, hey, he ass. I spent a first-round pick on this running back that stinks. You'd be pissed off. I don't care if it doesn't count towards my cap. I just gave this man $35 million as a rookie, and he stinks. So that's never going to happen. Because it sounds like you're saying pay them more money in their rookie contract, and then after that, let it be what it is. But if that's the case, you might end up paying a rookie that stinks. And these players aren't asking for to get broken off, because everybody has to go through this on that first contract. They're not asking for you to make any exceptions for them on their first contract. They're asking for you to pay them after they've shown you that they're capable. And on one hand, I get it if it's an older back like Dalvin Cook. And he's 27. Austin Eckler's 27. They'll be 28 here shortly, but that's not even super old, but it is in running back years. Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley are 25. Like, that's different. Like, pay these dudes. It's one thing if you getting a dude, he 27, 28. All right, I don't know if I can pay you what you looking for. I might pay you. I might not be able to pay you what you think you should get. But to not pay a 25-year-old, that's crazy to me. That don't even make sense. Hail Skins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's your thoughts on Julie Donaldson being demoted and no longer senior VP of broadcasting? I didn't know that. That's news to me. I don't like it at all, honestly. Now, I'm not in that building. I don't know what Julie was doing. I don't know how her role was being received. Everything that we've seen as fans from the outside looking in, it looks like Julie's been doing a fantastic job. The content has gotten better. The audio is crisper. The visuals are much clearer. Everything seems to be on par with the rest of the league. We can even hear the reporters ask their questions now. We didn't used to be able to even do that. So I thought Julie was making some positive strides with everything. I'm actually shocked that they did that now, with change. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. With change comes unintended consequences. A lot of people only focus on the big stuff. But I told y'all, all these people that want Ron gone, and I'm not saying that Ron should be here, but all these fans that want Ron gone, unintended consequences come with that. All right? If Ron's gone, there are going to be some players that you want around that won't be here. Period. So, unintended consequences of a new ownership group coming in, they're going to move some shit around. A lot of the moves that Dan made towards the end of his tenure, especially after the name change, a lot of that shit was cosmetically done. It was done for aesthetics only. He was looking to appease different groups, different brands out there for marketing opportunities. He was looking to try to save face in the media. Oh, look at me. I'm equal opportunity. I'm employing different minority groups. Women are getting positions of power. Hispanics, blacks, All of them. Look at what I'm doing. First black team president in the NFL. Look at what I'm doing. Yeah. That's cool. Are these people competent in their jobs or not? I can't say. So I don't know how good of a job Julie was doing or not. It seemed like she was doing a really good job. But I can't say if she was or wasn't. I don't listen to the radio broadcast, so I can't tell you if she was doing a great job during, that. That seemed like a bit much to me. Like, if you're seeing your like, to me, let other people do that, and you just worry about everything else. But I don't know. I didn't know that. That's news to me. JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JP. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? You think the running backs are gonna go on strike? That nah, because like I said, here's the problem with the running, and they know that, and they're fully aware. And this is why I love these running backs, because they're fully aware. Nick Chubb is fully aware. Najee Harris fully aware. Josh Jacobs fully aware. They know what the situation is. All right, and there ain't a damn thing they can really do about it. All you can do is go out there and play and hope that your organization acts in good faith. And that was the thing that Jim Irsay, tried to shit on, was good faith. You hope all you can do as a player is do what they ask you to do. They put you on the field, they hand you the ball 40 times in the game. What you gonna say? Nah, because at the end of my contract, y'all ain't gonna give me my bread. So nah, don't give it to me 40 times. No, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna lay it all on the line. And you're hoping that in good faith, the team responds to your production and pays you accordingly. That's what you hope. You can't go on strike. You still got family to feed. You got to provide. You can't go on strike, because you know why? Isaiah Pacheco as a 7th round pick is waiting to take your job. Tajay Spears, who was probably selected in the 4th or 5th round, I don't know what team he's on, but he's waiting to take your job as a rookie. There's an undrafted rookie running back right now that's chomping at the bit. You don't want the opportunity? I'll take it. Thanks. Because that dude ain't making nowhere near the amount of money you making. He'll take any goddamn thing. Dudes is out here starving. Stomachs is touching backs out here. No pun intended. So when I tell you they can't afford to just take time off, or they can't go on strike, or they can't sit out, that's why. Now, Josh Jacobs, he can make a statement because he's in a position like him and Saquon Barkley were among the few running backs who had leverage. They're not technically under contract. So their leverage is, I'll sit out as long as I deem necessary. You can do with it whatever you choose, because the minute I sign my name to that franchise tag, I'm locked in. I'm showing up. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. But until I feel like you're willing to sit down with me and come to the table and start talking with some sense, or you talking about trading me or whatever, I ain't signing it. And Josh Jacobs could not sign that thing till week 6 if he wanted to. As long as he's there by week 11, it's going to count as an accrued season, and he'll get his bread. He won't get any checks from those first 6 weeks that he missed, or whatever, or first 5 weeks that he missed, but he'll get checks moving forward. If he wants to make a statement, he can. Now, the Raiders technically could franchise tag him again next year, and because the franchise tag at the running back position isn't that expensive, they could be petty if they want to, but that doesn't make sense for them. That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I said all of that to say this: they're not going on strike, and that's the conundrum that the running backs find themselves in. Is if we try to make a statement, if we try to unify and band together to try to do something that we think is going to hurt the team or the league, the next man is just going to step up in my absence and try to take my spot. And while that next guy may not be Saquon Barkley, he may not be Najee Harris, he may not be Josh Jacobs, he may not be Tony Pollard, he may be good enough to get the job done. And that's the problem. So anyway, I digress. All right, let's get to our final segment of the show. And garbage time. So, Did y'all hear that? So we talked about this yesterday or a couple of days ago, last episode on the podcast. Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields, rather, turned down an opportunity to be on quarterback season 2. And that got me to thinking, well, what if quarterbacks are like, I don't really want anybody probing into my life like that, because they're not just cameras in the facility. They're at your house. They're following you around. Kirk Cousins went to the bookstore and the camera crew was with him. Like, you're not able to just live your life normally. If we're going to follow you around for an entire season, I'm going to have camera crews following you around for 6 months. For the next 6 months, getting all the footage that I can and then splicing it up and taking the best parts to do the documentary. What if quarterbacks are like, nah, I'm good? Like, we don't want trash quarterbacks up there. Jalen Hurts said that he turned down an offer to not only be on season 2, but he was offered season 1 as well. And so it got me to thinking, who would he have taken the place of? I'm assuming Marcus Mariota. Because again, we didn't know Jalen Hurts was going to do what he did last year. A lot of us were still saying that he was going to suck and that the Eagles were going to. And remember, the Eagles didn't even believe in him. They were under the trade for Russell Wilson. So I think Hurts would have taken Marcus Mariota's spot. I think Mariota was like a last-second fill-in for them. Cousins and Mahomes, I think, were already locked in. So they've already approached Justin Fields. He said no. They've already approached Jalen Hurts. He said no. I'm wondering how they're faring, because you can't just put anybody on the show. It's not going to be as appealing. Like, I don't want to see Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm good. I don't really care to see Jimmy Garoppolo go through his day-to-day. I mean, and there's a cast of other quarterbacks. I don't want to see Baker Mayfield for the Bucs if he's their starter. Like, I'm good. I don't need to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love, Jordan Love first year in Green Bay. That'd be interesting. If I'm Jordan Love, I don't think I'd want to participate. Like, they're asking these young quarterbacks who haven't established themselves yet. To me, you got to be asking quarterbacks who have established themselves in the league to be on this show. Because if I'm trying to find my way in the NFL, the last thing I want to do is bring a distraction that ultimately, like, what's the first thing fans are going to say if Justin Fields would have been on the show this year? See, that's why his ass ain't play well. He was so damn worried about being on this damn series, having these cameras following around instead of him being in his playbook. That's the first thing fans going to say. You got to go to somebody that's established themselves already in the league. I feel like in order for you to be on that show, you should already be on your second contract as a quarterback. I don't want any rookie contract quarterbacks on the show, honestly speaking. Justin Herbert just got his deal. Wouldn't mind seeing him. Joe Burrow's about to get his. Wouldn't mind seeing him. All three of the quarterbacks that they had on that show were well into their NFL careers, multiple contracts. I think Mahomes only is on his second contract, but we saw him get the contract. I think. No, I don't think we saw it up there. But he was building a mansion on that joint. What you can do when you sign a $500 million deal, $500 million, excuse me. So, it'd be interesting to see what they decide to do. Like, who can they get? I don't know. But Jalen Hurts turned him down. I find that very interesting. He would have been an interesting watch, too. He's one of the most interesting men in the NFL. Seriously. That would have been good to see. But I don't blame him for turning it down. MCGB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. MCGB writes, or nothing. Thank you for the super chat, MCGB. Beater Channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Beater Channel writes, you strike me as a Chevy guy. Am I wrong? You're wrong. I'm a Ford guy. But I wouldn't mind a Chevy, but I'm a Ford guy through and through. MCGB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. MCGB who writes, hey, Louie, Spence or Crawford? Oh, that's an easy one. It's Bud Crawford all day. I think Errol Spence is a damn good fighter, but he ain't never ran up against somebody like Terrence Crawford, who has power in both hands, who can fight orthodox or he can fight southpaw equally as well. He switches it up in fight, finds the littlest seam that you can think of, and exploits it. He's a tactician in there, and I think he's got a chin. I've seen him take a punch before. Really good defense, but I've seen him take a punch. And a lot of these fighters that are top notch, I always think about Roy Jones. Dudes that don't really get hit, can they take a punch? See, I knew Floyd could take a punch, even though he never really let you hit him towards the end of his career. He was in some wars early in his career. He took some ass whoopings. All right. So I knew he could take a punch. Some of these dudes, I'm not sure how that chin holds up when they get touched. We found out real quick that Deontay Wilder, that chin don't really hold up when he get touched, right? He was touching everybody else. We found out real quick about your boy from overseas. What the hell is his name? The big heavyweight. When Ruiz touched his chin and he went flying down, right? We found out real quick. AJ, Anthony Joshua, never trust a man. Never, ever trust a man with two first names. You find out real quick. I want to see what Errol Spence does because he ain't really been touched before. Not like serious, like critically injured, damaged in a fight. I want to see what happens because Spence gonna put that pressure. Crawford gonna put that pressure on him. We're gonna see how he hold up. I got Bud Crawford all day in this fight. I really, truly do. Should be fun. Got another super chat. Thank you for this super chat. This is from Reedy Davis. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, Reedy Davis, who writes, Lou, if all D-line balls out, what should we do in keeping or letting go? If it and you have to define balls out. I'm just going to assume they're double-digit sacks, all of that good jazz. If that takes place, you got to find a way to keep them all. We've already gotten, you don't have to worry about Allen and Payne and Payne. They've already been taken care of. You just find a way. And whether that means you franchise one dude and you long-term the other, you figure it out. Because Washington right now has enough money to be able to do that if they so choose, because they're not paying a quarterback. Now, if you feel like, and if Sam establishes himself, this will be the key. If Sam establishes himself, you got to make a decision. If Sam is ass and you still don't have a quarterback, you can pay both, because you still won't be paying a quarterback 2-3 years down the road. So by the time those contracts, because remember, they're staggered, right? It's not like you're doing them in the same year, which is why I said you would franchise tag one and then maybe try to pay him next year. Like, do it again, Chase. Like, Montez is the one you can pay. He's been healthy. He's been consistent. Pay him. Say, Chase, do it again. Right? Do it again. And then if he does it again, you pay him too. And you stagger them. What you don't want to do is have everybody's deal up at the same time, or have everybody, making a bunch of money in a year where you're going to have to pay your quarterback. So Allen's deal is going to run out first. Payne's deal is going to run out next. And then after that, whomever you sign, you'll be able to do it that way. And so if you got to pay Sam, then you can't pay both of them. You can't pay both of them, because there are other guys that you're going to want to be able to sign. Cam Curl, potentially. Curtis Samuel, you may want to bring him back. Derek Forrest, you might want to bring him back. De'Ami Brown. We don't know how these guys are going to play. Antonio Gibson is up for a contract after this year. You don't know how these guys are going to play, right? Sam Cosmi starts balling. You may have to pay him shortly. Benjamin St. Juice. Like, I could go on and on. There's a lot of young players that have been playing solid football that have a chance to establish themselves as really good football players that you want back in the next 2 years. But you aren't going to be able to re-sign a lot of them if you spend across the defensive line. But if Sam doesn't establish himself, you can go ahead and do it because then you're not paying a quarterback. But if Sam establishes himself, you can't. You're going to have to pick one because you're going to have to give that money to Sam. So I've already said it. Sweat is the guy that I'm focused in on. I think he's going to have that Daron Payne type leap this year. But I'm rooting for Chase just as hard as I'm rooting for Tez. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 352nd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I thank you guys for joining me. Look forward to chopping it up with y'all tonight, later on, for the Command Post Live. So much to get to. Day 2 of camp. A lot of storylines kind of buzzing. I got a couple of takes, a couple of things I want to say later on tonight. So make sure y'all show up for that. It's going to be a fun show. But in any event, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. You guys, if you don't catch me tonight, be out of the office over the weekend, last couple of weekends that I'll be able to enjoy the family. So I'm going to do that. So you won't see me. So enjoy your weekend and we'll reconvene on the other side. Y'all take care. God bless. And as always, good night. The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Louie.